Am I enjoying Far Cry Primal? I'm a bit torn. It's not a bad game, but at the same time I'm not enjoying it that much. It might sound confusing, but hear me out. I loved Far Cry 3. Like many people, I think it's the best Far Cry game. When Far Cry 4 came out and people asked me should they buy it, it was very simple for me to respond. I would just ask, did you like Far Cry 3? Yeah. Do you want more of that? And there you go. I enjoyed Far Cry 4, but at the same time not as much as Far Cry 3, even though it had some cooler stuff in it. Because it wasn't new. It wasn't the first time I was clearing out the map of outposts, hunting animals to craft better gear. You know, that stuff gets old at some point. Far Cry Primal is a lot more focused on this crafting aspect. There's so much stuff to craft that you spend most of your time hunting or gathering plants. And I do like the crafting system in Primal, but it's the third time I'm doing this. I'm done with having crappy weapons and not enough space in my inventory to loot this stuff, and slowly upgrading as I spend more time with the game. I'm just done. I've done it for way too long. When Far Cry 4 came out, I gave Ubisoft a pass, because I really liked Far Cry 3, and I didn't mind playing another game like that, but I also said that Ubisoft does not get away with doing this a second time. When they announced Far Cry Primal, we saw that it was set in a Stone Age, and it seemed promising, a good departure from the formula. But what they kept in from the previous games are perhaps my least favorite aspects, or at least it's stuff that I've grown tired of doing over the previous two games. This being a game set in the year 10,000 BC, I thought that it opened up a window for some interesting storytelling. No one's going to speak English, they have to tell you the story in a way that you can understand without really understanding the words, and the characters are gonna have a completely different set of principles, but I was wrong on all of these assumptions. The story is told through subtitles, as if it was any other Far Cry game. Everyone speaks the same language, so you can understand pretty much everything that's going on, and the characters are the same archetypes that they had previously, but they're wearing fur as clothing. It feels like just another generic story where you pick up a group of people who are oppressed by a rival faction and you slowly defeat said rival faction. It was a big letdown for sure, and the main antagonist doesn't seem to be anywhere near the level of Voss or Pagan Min. He just looks like a brute. Granted, I haven't finished the game, but that's the impression I get. If I finish the game and my opinion changes, I'll do a follow-up video. The big new addition is your ability to tame creatures. Use some baits to keep them distracted, walk up to them and hit square to tame them. Once you do that, the creature is added to your collection and you can summon it at any time. Even if it dies, you can revive it with a couple of red leaves. You can tell your pet to go to a location to attack a specific target. It opens up some new possibilities for your encounters, but at the same time, I feel like you don't have as many options as you did in the previous games. You obviously have no guns because it's the Stone Age. Your main weapons are a club, a bow, and spears. Taking an outpost in Far Cry Primal feels very similar to the previous games if you're doing it stealthily. You can perform takedowns, use your bow for some clever headshots, and even your pet as a distraction or as simply as a killing machine. But when taking an outpost head on, I feel like you have a lot less options. You're kind of vulnerable in open combat, and sure, people are gonna say you can ride a mammoth into a camp and wreck everything, but you could do that on Far Cry 4 as well. The difference was you had a grenade launcher while riding the elephant, and now you really don't. I think this is a worse Far Cry game than the previous two, but it's not bad. You still got a lot of options on how to take down the outposts, the same level of characters in a story, and the crafting system is a lot more diverse and expansive, so if you like that stuff, you're still going to enjoy this game. The world is huge, the graphics are beautiful, but for me, after playing the previous two games, opening up my world map and looking at the amount of stuff I have left to do just feels like busy work. And it's not a problem exclusive to Far Cry, it's a bigger issue with open world games nowadays. Just Cause 3 felt the same, Mad Max, Assassin's Creed. Something has to change in this formula, cause it's really getting old. In my opinion, Primal is to Far Cry as Revelations is to Assassin's Creed. I sat down to play a series that I love, only to see the same game in a new environment and a couple of changes that I wasn't really too fond of. But since it's not a bad game, I'm still gonna finish it, and if I change my mind, I'll let you guys know. If you wanna watch my full walkthrough, I'll leave a link in the description below, but let's talk about Far Cry in the comments. Have you played Primal yet? Are you thinking of picking it up after watching this video? I know my thoughts can be a bit confusing sometimes, because this is not a bad game, it just feels very similar and I'm kinda done with it. If the video was useful, click that like button, and if you're new, subscribe for more gaming goodness. Thanks for watching, I've been Globku. Boy!